You don't call an entire professional sports league absolute morons into a live microphone unless you are completely done biting your tongue. And Dave Portnoy, the owner of Barstool Sports, just did exactly that. Then he kept going. He called the WNBA the worst marketed league in the history of leagues, said they're absolute morons, and that's the answer. We are talking about the way this league treats Caitlin Clark. And what set him off this time wasn't just a bad call or a swallowed whistle. It was something so petty, so tone-deaf, that even Clark's own teammate Sophie Cunningham looked at it and called it a joke to its face. Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll understand why people are now openly asking if the suits running this league are quietly trying to drown their own golden goose. Before we dive into the chaos, do me one quick favor. If you're sick of watching the most important player in women's basketball get treated like an afterthought, smash that like button and drop the word PROTECT in the comments so the algorithm fires this out to every Clark fan alive. Hit subscribe too, because this story is moving fast and it is nowhere near over. Now let's rewind to where this powder keg actually got lit. It started on the night of June 24th, 2026, at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Indiana Fever were locked in a war with the Phoenix Mercury, a game they'd eventually lose by the slimmest of margins, 111 to 109. But the final score is not what the basketball world was screaming about the next morning. In the second quarter, Clark went down while attempting to drive to the basket and Mercury forward. Alyssa Thomas pressed her fist into her throat. No flailing for the ball, no accident. A closed fist into the neck of a player lying defenseless on the hardwood. And the referees? Thomas even stepped over Clark before joining her teammates in transition, and no foul was called despite an official clearly standing on the baseline. But that wasn't the whole story. The internet detonated, and the WNBA, after a full day of getting roasted online, quietly reversed course. While no foul was called on the play during the game, the league announced the next day that it retroactively issued Thomas a flagrant 2 and gave her a 1-game suspension. Read that back. The league admitted the play was so egregious it deserved an ejection-level penalty. But only after the cameras were off and the public had already watched the replay a million times. And here's the part that makes it even messier. This wasn't a one-night thing. The two teams had met days earlier in a game with 6 technical fouls and an ejection, and Clark picked up her 5th technical of the season in that game. Officials hit her with that technical for clapping and instigating. The bad blood was already boiling. Thomas's fist to the throat just poured gasoline all over it. And here's where it gets darker. Because Caitlin Clark did not walk away from that night clean. She left the Fever's loss with a back injury in the third quarter, going back to the locker room and not returning. She finished with 19 points and 8 assists in 20 minutes. Days later, Coach Stephanie White told reporters Clark would not play Saturday's game against the Los Angeles Sparks. White said there was no indication whether Clark would miss additional games, and the Fever's week-long break means they next play July 5th against the Las Vegas Aces. And this back issue wasn't even new. Clark's health had been in question since the season opener in May, and the Fever even earned a warning for failing to list her properly on an injury report. Now remember, this was supposed to be Clark's bounce-back season. After injuries limited her to 13 games last year, she's averaging a career-high 21.2 points this season to go with 8.2 assists. The player carrying all of that weight is the one the league keeps leaving in harm's way. But the on-court stuff? That was only half of what blew Portnoy's fuse. Because at almost the exact same time, the WNBA decided to celebrate its 30th anniversary. The league released a commemorative poster, available for purchase for around $30, featuring every team in its storied history. Some of Clark's contemporaries were featured: Atlanta's Angel Reese, Dallas's Paige Buchers, Los Angeles' Kelsey Plum, and Indiana teammate Sophie Cunningham. And the one player most responsible for the fact that anyone is buying a WNBA poster at all? Caitlin Clark, one of the most popular women's basketball players of all time, was not included while her teammate Sophie Cunningham was prominently featured. They left Clark off entirely. And here's what almost nobody noticed. They also left off all-time legends like Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Cheryl Swoops. Fans flooded the league's posts, photoshopping Clark back in and sarcastically telling the WNBA they'd fixed it for you. Keep in mind, this is the same Clark sitting second in the entire league's all-star fan voting, even while injured. Now, I love Sophie. Make no mistake. Sophie Cunningham is an absolute warrior who has body-checked anybody dumb enough to put hands on Clark, and she's got more guts than half the league combined. So this is no shot at Sophie. And to her enormous credit, she was the first one to call the whole thing ridiculous. On her own podcast, Cunningham didn't hold back. She said it's a joke, and that this is why Cathy and the WNBA are getting lit up on social media, because they're leaving out a generational, the best player to ever go to the WNBA. Then she dropped the line that had Fever fans howling. She said it should be Caitlin, it should be Kelsey Mitchell, it should be Aaliyah Boston, and asked, why are we putting random players on there? I'm one of them. That's a player publicly admitting her own league chose her over the biggest star in the sport. That's wild honesty. And it's exactly why Fever fans adore her. And Portnoy summed up what everybody was thinking with one brutal question. How do you leave off the most consequential player in the history of the league? But that's not even the wildest part. See, none of this is happening in a vacuum. And here's the thread almost nobody is connecting. A few months back, during the league's ugly labor fight, Minnesota star Napheesa Collier claimed that in talks, Commissioner Cathy Engelbert told her Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And that players should be on their knees, thanking the league. Engelbert vehemently denied saying that, insisting she did not make those comments. But once that allegation was out there, every single snub started looking less like coincidence and more like a pattern. A fist to the throat with no whistle. A superstar erased from the anniversary poster. A commissioner accused of telling Clark to be grateful. Even level-headed analysts admitted the Thomas suspension didn't fix the league's real problem. It exposed it, laying bare how little trust fans have left in how the W officiates and protects its biggest stars. And it's not just fans and bloggers anymore. This thing climbed all the way up to elected officials. Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita torched the one-game suspension, saying, "That's it? Just one game? Pathetic." And arguing no player should have to endure an assault on the court. Let alone Caitlin Clark, who has done more for the WNBA than anyone. When an attorney general is firing off about your foul calls, you've lost the room. And this is the exact spot where Portnoy went fully nuclear. His argument is dead simple and almost impossible to refute. He says they just don't want to accept how important she is. That the only reason they're flying private is because of her. And the only reason they have a new CBA is because of her. And the numbers back him to the hilt. It's been estimated Clark was responsible for roughly 25 to 26% of the WNBA's total economic activity in 2024. Fever games averaged about 1.26 million viewers. A game she missed drew under 320,000, and her debut pulled over 2.5 million. The math isn't subtle. Portnoy chalked it all up to jealousy and hypocrisy. Not race, he stressed, since the league has had plenty of white stars before. But pure resentment that Clark was crowned the queen before she ever showed up. Now, not everybody is on Team Portnoy, and I'll be fair here. There's a loud counter-take floating around the pundit world, the Emmanuel Acho argument, that the league would actually be better off without this version of Caitlin Clark, the one everyone supposedly coddles, and that the W has enough talent now to stand on its own. And I'll give that argument exactly 1 second of respect, and then tell you it's a fantasy. Because the moment Clark sits, the ratings crater. We've literally watched it happen in real time this very season. Even WNBA legend Lisa Leslie weighed in with a strong message, urging players to clean it up in the aftermath. So it's not exactly only the Clark superfans saying the physicality has gone too far. And the fallout keeps spreading like wildfire. After the game, the Mercury posted a now-deleted cartoon-style sketch, and Portnoy blasted the team, calling its members cowards. In a separate jab, he sarcastically suggested Thomas should have to fly commercial the rest of the season. Meanwhile, the other side dug in too. Mercury coach Nate Tibbetts called out the WNBA and defended Thomas following her suspension. And veteran broadcaster Michelle Tafoya called it the biggest mystery, or the biggest mismanagement of a golden goose she's ever seen in sports. Everybody is yelling. And in the middle of it all sits one 24-year-old with a sore back, watching the league she single-handedly transformed argue about whether she even deserves a spot on a poster. So here's the real question, and it's the one Portnoy keeps hammering. What happens to this league the day Caitlin Clark decides she's had enough? Franchise valuations have jumped into the billion-dollar range since her entry into the league. Attendance records keep falling, and every dollar of it traces back to number 22. A league that can't protect its biggest asset and won't even put her on a celebration poster is playing a dangerous game of chicken with the one person who can pack up and take all of it with her. My take? Portnoy is right about the disrespect. Sophie Cunningham is right that it's a joke. And the WNBA had better wake up before the golden goose decides to fly south for good. If you made it this far, you clearly care about this as much as I do. So do me a solid. Hit that like button, subscribe to Hoops Crown for the daily WNBA drama nobody else will touch, and tell me down in the comments, is the league actively sabotaging Caitlin Clark? Or is it just pure blinding incompetence? I'm reading every single reply. I'll see you in the next one.